In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the MIB lookup background node. So what this node will allow us to do is to very simply add some kind of a background image onto our final render. So to really see this in action, let's first just take a look at the scene that we have now. So let's just render this. And you can see in this scene that we really have no background whatsoever. Right now we do have a few plants and we have some shadows that are being cast on this floor. And this floor object is really just a simple plane that has the Maya use background shader applied to it. So let's take a look at how we can use the lookup background node. So this is found under environments. So we can either add this in manually and connect it to our camera, or we could just go to view, select camera, and then if we take a look inside the mental ray area, we can go to the environment shader and then plug in our background lookup. So once we have this connected, we can now plug in our texture. So let's connect to mental ray texture and take a look inside the textures directory of your current project and go ahead and open up the garden background. So once we have that plugged in, now let's re-render. And here's what we get back. So really all this does is take this particular image that we have saved out and then we'll add that as the background to our rendered image. Now what's nice is the fact that Mental Ray can even utilize this background image for things like color and light sampling. So you'll notice that this flower that's up here along the top is actually able to receive a little bit of green light from the final gather that's able to reach out and sample some of this green information from the background image and then carry that back up. And same with some of these flowers down here, we are able to use Final Gather to reach out and sample a little bit more of this reddish color in the dirt to return some of that color information to these points. So really once we have this set up, all we need to do now is come back and try to angle our image here so that it lines up a little bit better with our background plate. And there we go. So really there are not very many attributes that are found inside this texture lookup node. So really about all that we have is the ability to control the zoom and the pan, or the placement in this image. So right now the pan, or rather the zoom, is set to 1. So if we were to start to decrease this to 0.5 in the X and 0.5 in the Y, you can see that we've essentially scaled this image up to double its original size in the viewport, or rather in the render view. Likewise, if we were to increase the zoom to 2, you can see that we've now doubled the number of repeats in this background image. And because we have the torus checkbox turned on, that will ensure that the background image repeats across these different tiles. So that's what the zoom takes care of. The pan really just alters the placement of this image. So if for whatever reason we were scaled in, we could now use this pan to adjust the placement of this image as far as which portions we see. So you can see how that will actually start to shift this image over, and in our case we've now shifted this image to the point where we can now see the 4 corners, or basically the point at which this texture starts to repeat. So that's really pretty much all there is to this use background, or this background lookup node. This is something that really can be quite useful for compositing purposes, again due to the fact that we can use Final Gather to start to reach out, sample some of this color information, and return that to the 3D geometry portion of our image.